Executive Board of Directors is proud to support Faribault Community Television.
Hi, my name is Brianna Wheeler, and I'm the Executive Director at Riverbend Nature Center. And today we are talking about our favorite plant or animal, and I am terrible at favorites. I love so many different plants and animals, but today I want to highlight one of my favorites, and that is the marsh marigold. It's definitely not the season for marsh marigolds right now. They are a spring wildflower that come out really early in the year. They're a beautiful yellow flower that you can find in marshes and areas where there is a lot of water. And so that is my favorite plant that I wanted to share with you today. And I'd also like to say thank you to the community for all of their support of the Nature Center during this time. We really appreciate it, and thank you for helping keep nature connections strong.
Hey everyone, this is David with Riverbend Nature Center, and I'm out here today with one of my favorite animals, the goat. Got plenty of them here. And you wouldn't find these at the Nature Center, but you would find a similar animal, another ruminant, which would be the white-tailed deer, and I do like those as well. Thank you all for supporting us this past year. As you know, Riverbend is a nonprofit nature center, so every membership and every donation does help us tremendously. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brittany Smith. I'm one of your Naturals Program Coordinators at Riverbend Nature Center. My favorite plant that you will find at Riverbend are cattails. They're a really cool species of wetland plant, and they play a vital role in our wetland ecosystems. So, the next time you're out there, check out our ponds and wetlands and look at this really cool plant. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the continued support you have shown Riverbend. It's because of community members like you supporting through donations and memberships that Riverbend is what it is today. Thank you for the continued support, and hope to see you out there in the near future. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Hi everyone, it's Molly, a Naturalist Program Coordinator from Riverbend Nature Center, and my favorite animal is the river otter. They're really cute, and they can hold their breath for up to 8 minutes underwater, and they're the largest of the weasel family. They also groom themselves after every meal. Thank you so much for supporting Riverbend Nature Center through this time, and we hope you enjoy the trails out at Riverbend and the healing power of nature.
Hello, my name is Katie Andre. I am a naturalist and office administrator here at Riverbend Nature Center. And I just want to take a moment to thank the community, the members and the donors who have supported us and seen us through good times and tough times this year. And we hope to continue to grow and expand our programs to offer more to the community. I just want to take a moment to share one of my favorite Minnesota animals, which is the American beaver. And as you can see behind me, one has fallen a tree and chewed away at the log here. They are great animals, and the fact that they can change their environment and have a big impact on other species as well. So that is why the American beaver is one of my favorites. So thank you again for all of your support, and we hope to see you out here soon.
Oh, excuse me. Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Ritchie, and thanks for joining me. Now I got a question. How many of you have just yawned? You know, everybody knows yawning is contagious. Well, in reality, that's true, because we do have what are called mirror neurons. And mirror neurons force us to sometimes mimic what other people around us are doing. Now, yawning is contagious. So are other things. And what I want to talk about today is laughter. Because you've all heard the phrase, laughter is the best medicine. Reality is, hey, science is now proving it. Laughter is therapeutic. In fact, laughter is, first of all, contagious. And if you don't believe me, just try not to laugh when somebody next to you is laughing hysterically. You can't do it. Now, how does it help us physically? Well, first of all, it is really hard to laugh and be tense. Can't do it. Laughter relaxes us. Second, laughter can boost our immune system. Studies have shown that laughing increases the activity of the white blood cells called killer T cells. Now, that's almost a name you have to laugh at. Killer T cells help fight infection. Third thing is, laughter creates a boost in the internal chemical called an endorphin. You've all heard about endorphins. It gives you that high. One of the best ways to trigger endorphins is to exercise. But laughter actually triggers more endorphins in a shorter time than exercise does. Next, it burns calories. It's a great way to burn calories quick. It, in fact, is a great cardio workout. It's good for the heart. So this is interesting. Try laughing hard continuously for 5 minutes. You will be exhausted. It's a great workout. And more than anything, laughter fights depression and smooths out anger. You can't be mad if you're laughing, can't be depressed if you're laughing. So it's good for us. Now, what do you do about that? Well, first of all, try to laugh. That's a given. And it's important to know what is not funny. Mocking other people, poking fun at other people. So laugh at yourself. Don't laugh at somebody else's expense. But then the question would be, well, how can this be something that affects my health? Well, that's where it gets really interesting, because there is a physician in India, Dr. Madan Kataria, who has founded laugh clubs. Now, you may have never heard about this, but they're all over India, and they're cropping up here as well. In fact, if you go on the internet, you can Google laughter yoga, and you will find laugh yoga clubs in Minneapolis. Now, Dr. Kataria is a physician who about 10 years ago decided laughter was great. He didn't want to be a physician, to be honest. His parents kind of forced him to, and it was a cultural requirement that he do it. He is now a big advocate of the health benefits of laughter. His wife is a yoga instructor, so they started Laugh Yoga, and it has spread like wildfire across the country. The goal is to use laughter, combine it with some simple yoga moves, and you create a healthy workout for people that will lift their spirit as well as exercise their body. In fact, I Googled it just a few minutes before this taping, and there are laugh yoga clubs throughout the Twin Cities. In fact, there are over 500 members in Minneapolis alone of these laugh clubs, and you can find their meetings anywhere. And what they'll do is they'll just get together and laugh. Now you say, well, what if nothing's funny? It doesn't matter. Forced laughter has the same impact physically and emotionally as real humor-induced laughter. So in reality, laugh. That's all it takes. In fact, while I was looking around on the internet for laugh clubs, I found a course that will certify you as a laughter yoga master. Think of it as Yoda for laugh yogis. Now, having said that, go laugh, have a good day, and enjoy the holidays. Thanks for joining me.
Hello there. My name's Bob. I'm one of the library technicians at the Buckham Memorial Library. Today I'm going to tell you about the 3D printing program at the library. Let's start with the basics. 3D printing is the production of a 3D object like this from a digital 3D model like this. And there are a lot of different kinds of 3D printing, and the practical applications are basically limitless. It can be used in rapid prototyping, things like food and art and fashion, and even medical applications. Even things like houses and computer chips and functioning human organs can be 3D printed. The kind of 3D printing we use at the library is called FDM printing. And while it can't print a building or a functioning kidney, it's still very exciting. Basically, FDM printing involves plastic filament being fed through a moving, heated nozzle and deposited on a horizontal surface, sort of like a hot glue gun. The computer controls the nozzle and defines the shape it prints the material in. Once one layer is complete, the object or nozzle is moved vertically, and the next layer is deposited on top of the previous layer. This process continues until the print is complete. The internet is full of free 3D designs that you can print, but it's much more fun to design your own. This is Tinkercad, a free browser-based design program. It's very simple and easy to learn. Basically, you take shapes from this side here, drag them and drop them onto the work plane. You can transform them and combine them and make basically anything you can imagine. If you'd like to have something printed at the library, go to our website, faribault.org/library, and click on 3D printing down on the side here. To start, you'll need a 3D model, and that can be something that you designed yourself or something that you found online. If it's a model from Tinkercad, you'll need to export it as an STL file. And if it's something you found online, you'll need to download the STL file. You'll then email that file to buckhamprint@gmail.com and then submit a request form that you can find right here. Once you've submitted that, you will hear back from us with a cost estimate, and once you've approved that, we can get your print added to the queue. I want to quickly show you a project we're currently working on for a patron. This is a 1/8 scale model of the Balrog from the film Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. This thing is gigantic. It's going to be printed in about 60 pieces and then assembled and painted by the patron. It'll be about 2 feet tall and 2 feet around when it's all done. So it is gigantic. Now, a project like this is really cool and exciting, but with something this big, there are bound to be issues that come up. And the last one that I dealt with was that the pieces weren't sticking to the build plate very well. And that causes failures like this and this. And what I did to solve this is recalibrate everything carefully, clean the glass build plate really well, and then actually add a little bit of glue to the build plate to help everything stick. And that gets you a final result like this. I also have in the works a system to remotely monitor and operate the printer, and that should help keep any other issues that pop up under control. If you'd like to learn more about 3D printing at the library, or if you'd like updates on that project, you can go to our Facebook page and click on videos. And you can follow the Tech Time with Bob playlist. We'll have a new video at least once a week, giving you updates on what we have going on here. I'd also love to answer any questions you might have about any of this. And so you can send those to the library. Hope to hear from you soon. Take care. Bye for now.
Hi, I'm Jessica, the pharmacy manager at Hy-Vee in Faribault. Today I want to talk to you about herbal supplements and vitamins. So there's a lot in the media, there's a lot on Facebook about different herbal supplements and vitamins that might help prevent you from getting COVID or make you feel better if you have COVID. Now, most of them are better at making you feel better after you have COVID, but there are some things that you can take, beforehand that might help you. One of the things they have suggested is a vitamin D supplement. We're living in the state of Minnesota. We don't get a lot of vitamin D from being outside right now. So a vitamin D supplement is really good for most people anyways, so that might be one thing that you do want to pick up when you're at Hy-Vee. All the different vitamins and herbal supplements, most of them are, mostly going to be harmless. However, you do want to check with the pharmacist when you're selecting some of these things, especially because doctors are recommending some pretty high doses, and you might see some pretty high doses on Facebook. Those things could be harmful to you if taken for an extended period of time. They also could be harmful to you if you have a medication that they might interact with. So it's definitely good to stop and talk to your pharmacist before you choose one of these items. Even this vitamin D here, you want to stop and ask me. There might be something else that you're taking that already has some vitamin D in it, and we can make sure that you're not doubling up on some of those things and maybe even save you some money. Every Wednesday we have a deal with our vitamin area for 10% off for our Wellness Wednesdays. So, if you want to stock up on vitamins, Wednesdays are a great time to come to Hy-Vee. Stock up on your vitamins, bring them up to the counter, and we'll go over them with you and make sure they don't interact with any of your medications. So stop by. Thank you.
Kelly Nygaard with the Faribault Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism. As you're aware, the situation regarding COVID-19 is ever evolving, but so are the businesses in Faribault. Holiday shopping is going to look a little bit different this year, but let's show our love for local. Ask for items for local businesses, gift cards, chamber bucks, gives gifts from area salons, restaurants, services, and products. Get creative while helping local businesses survive. Many of our eateries are making the necessary adjustments to serve customers with curbside and takeout options. We have a complete list on our chamber website, faribaultmn.org. Many shops are showcasing products on Facebook and their websites. Make sure you call ahead and make necessary arrangements with each establishment. Other retailers and banks have adapted their offerings as well. If you're currently not in need of goods or services but wish to help, you can inquire with your favorite businesses about purchasing gift cards by phone or online. And of course, chamber checks are also a great option for shopping locally, and they fit everyone. Every time you spend, you vote for the kind of world you want. Vote for local businesses, shops, restaurants, and entrepreneurs. More of your money will be kept local in the economy. For every dollar spent, 70 cents get circulated back into the economy. When you shop local, you embrace what makes our community unique. You help create local jobs. You help the environment by contributing to less packaging and shipping costs. You take advantage of their expertise in their field. You have different options. Local shops don't have to carry cookie cutter options that other competitors might. You receive amazing customer service. You're investing in entrepreneurship and supporting someone's dream. And you're supporting a vibrant community. They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy local and help build the world you want, which is kind of the same thing. So shop, dine, drink, play, and support Faribault.
Rice County Historical Society. My name's Sue Garwood and I'm the executive director here. And today we've got a special guest. We've got author Elsie Slinger. She is the most recent, or one of the most recent authors here in Faribault, and she's written a book called Murder, Mysteries, and Misfortune. This is all about Rice County stories. And I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for joining us, Elsie.
Thank you for having me.
So, what a neat book.
It's been a neat thing to talk to people about. It really has.
So, well, let's just start. These are all Rice County stories, yes. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, and why this story? What was your interest?
Well, I grew up with my mother watching murder mystery on TV, movies, whatever, things like that, and I obviously had the newspaper background, and I was sitting around one day, this is after I retired from writing, and I thought, I need to get back. I want to write a book. What do I want to write the book about? And I've always been told, write what you know. And I know newspapers, so I get to dig through newspapers, I get to look through newspapers, I get to see microfilm of newspapers, so I had plenty of newspapers. But this was a special treat because once I got into it, I had no idea the amount of cases that you could pick from, and you had to pick because there was, every time you turned a page there was something that caught your eye, and so I picked the ones that I thought people would be interested, some I didn't remember or hearing about and things like that, and personally interviewed some of the people still alive.
Oh, wow.
Cases. Yes.
Well, let's start back for just a moment. So you have a newspaper background.
Yes.
Where did you work and how long?
Well, I came to Faribault in 1981 and worked for the Daily News as a news reporter and a sports writer. And did that for 4 years. Ended up leaving to go to Kenyon. I liked the weekly aspect of writing stories because you get to meet the people and actually have some time to put some time into writing instead of hurry up writing and things like that. And you get to know the people in the community. So I did that for about 8 years, and then I bought the Blooming Prairie Times in 1994 and owned that till 2005. So that's when I got out of the newspaper gig, and I've been doing work for my husband's business right now. But otherwise, I said I want to write. So what I want to do some writing, and that's how I started.
Well, that's fascinating. I hadn't realized you not only a writer but a publisher and editor too. Yes. So that's really neat. Mm-hmm. So you. Murder mysteries and interest in writing about local stories. Mm-hmm. Did you have any one story that you really wanted to pursue that really was the first story you started out with?
Well, the first one that impacted me when I came to town was back in early 1981. It was the Cermak case from Lonsdale, and that was a man and his whole family were sexually abusing kids.
Oh my gosh.
And I always remembered that because I was on the front lines, heard what the reporter was saying about the case when he went to the court proceedings and things like that, and got to hear the stories that he couldn't put in the paper. It always stayed with me. And it ended up, like I said, it was 4 different trials because the family fought jurisdiction where it should be held, and there was too much popularity in the county to do it. And the whole aspect, and going back and reliving that and seeing court proceedings, other newspapers and stuff like that, it really brought home more than what I ever remembered. So that was it's not a favorite, but it was one that I vividly remembered. So
as you said, you certainly researched newspapers, but it sounds like you went back to original or primary material too, like court proceedings.
Yeah, you kind of have to, because unfortunately, I'd be the first to admit that newspapers don't always get it right. Mm. So I keep that in the back of my mind because you'll read in one newspaper about the same case, and then the same case another newspaper writes it this way, and it's like, so you want to back check to make sure, if you can, how it really went down. And that's when I got to see proceedings of what actually happened in the courthouse at the time. I mean, that was something that wasn't really reported and things like that. Plus newspapers, depending on how close they are to the subject that you're writing about, put more time into it than others. So you get to find out, I mean, Lonsdale didn't have a paper at the time. And, you know, it went to Red Wing, it went to Rochester, it went to Alexandria, it went up to Hastings. So you got to look at those newspapers and see how they all covered it. So
sure.
Yeah.
And then I heard you mention very briefly earlier in our conversation that you also were able to interview some family members or some people affiliated with this?
There was, that's a touchy subject when you want to talk to people about someone that was murdered or someone who died. The case hasn't been solved, you know, and so you have to kind of weigh who you think might want to talk to you. And the first thing I wanted to tell them was, I have no interest in sensationalizing what happened to you, your family. I want to hear your story. Anything you do not want to see in the book, I'm more than happy to take out. And I actually showed them a copy of the story to make sure I had heard them right and understood what they were saying to me.
Wow.
And yeah, it was really amazing. Some of these cases that I talked to people was from 1939, some from 49. Amazing, these people are still alive, but it was like yesterday when it happened to them. And I always enjoy hearing and talking to the elderly anyway, so this was right up my alley. And they were very, very helpful, the people that I talked to. And it was a kind of a closure for the families too. I mean, no one's really come up and asked them how they viewed it. It was just a newspaper, you're listening to the policeman or the BCA or whoever they happen to deal with. And that's the viewpoint the newspapers always went by. I'm sure it was touchy back then to talk to family, but I had a chance to do it, and it really was successful.
That's really wonderful. Because you're right, you know, when you're writing a story or writing a book like this, you really want to try and get it as accurately as possible. Yeah. Otherwise, you just write a murder mystery novel, and then it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, anybody could do that. And then at times you also get to find out things that weren't reported at the time, and then people get to hear the true story from the aspect of the family because they obviously lived through it. They know what went down. You got to quell any rumors that happened. I mean, some of these people thought, you know, somebody else did it, and you know, you got to go and say, no, they didn't have anything to do with it. And but it was, the people were very easy to talk to. Talked to a lady from Florida about a case. Went down to Rochester, talked to some people. One family had 4 people still alive from a case. So and none of them said no. And I guess that goes to say that, like I said, they wanted to share the story that they had to hold in for so many years.
So is it fair to say that most of these stories in this book are about their 20th century stories from 1900 to?
I would say the majority of them from 1910s on up. But they're in the back of the book. I also put like snippets from newspapers so you could actually see how the story was written back in that time, and just little small stories that maybe were only covered for one time and never heard from again. I did hear from one lady. She come up and told me, she says, I never knew that there was a story in the newspaper about my dad. He was the one that died from this construction accident. She said it was so interesting to see that because we never knew that. And so, like I said, I think it was closure for people, and they actually got to find out too, maybe more than what they knew as a family at the time what happened.
Sure. Yeah. Wow. I know from my own writing, and this is just with papers and other single stories, that you can't fit everything into the paper. Did you have to leave some things out?
Yes and no. I mean, my vision was to write about separate stories, so I didn't want to write a book on a story.
Right.
And I put in there what I thought people needed to know about the case and what I heard from the people that actually lived that they may not have known. Try to stick that in there. So there are stories that are longer than others, but those are ones that were hugely covered cases at the time, vicious murders and stuff like that. But yeah, it's hard because you want to put more in there, but I think people get the gist of what went on at that time.
Sure. So about how many stories are in this book?
There's 30 stories that I actually covered, went and did research on and things like that. And then in the back of the book, like I said, there are snippets of actual newspaper clippings of a story that was like a one-time wonder, I guess you could call it, and stuff like that. But I just included them because I think people need to see how the stories were written back at that time. How I write now is nothing like how people wrote in the 1800s
Right.
or the early or mid-1900s. So people get a chance to see how sometimes stories are brutally written, very honestly, or maybe, well, they kind of skirted over that when it really happened. So that's why.
And once again, these are all Rice counties.
These are Rice County stories.
Wow.
It was hard sometimes because obviously Morristown had a paper, but not many books were around yet to look through there. You kind of count on the Historical Society in Morristown, which I did, to talk about what cases they think they would like to hear. Same thing in Lonsdale and Dundas. I mean, Dundas really was a nice little town early on in the 1900s, but now kind of has spread out to be part of, unfortunately, Northfield. It's obviously they're separately different. And then Northfield's population has doubled since I've been here. So it's interesting to get a story that I have about the summer of 1969, where there's 3 murders just around the Northfield area, when Northfield probably at that time had 4,000 people. So it really is a story in time about how the county has evolved, how the police coverage, how they handle cases is involved. I mean, just think what they could have done with some of these murders back in whatever time if they had the technology they have now to solve it.
Right.
So, yeah, it goes back pretty much to the 1910s.
And then I know that this has been out for a while. What's been the reception, or what have people's reactions been to it?
I published it in July. I got it done because of the COVID. That's about the only good thing in my life about the COVID was I had to sit down now and put these stories together. And my goal was to actually sell or start it at the Rice County Fair, because I thought that's where the people would like to hear about it, but that didn't happen. But anyway, yeah, and then I published in August, got it out in September, and did a nice story for me in a Faribault paper, and that's really when it just started to go. So.
Well, and I know we do sell the book here, and we've had to reorder, I think, from you 3 times. So that's really wonderful.
Which I very much appreciate.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now, I know that you said that you talked to family members about the book as well. How about people who weren't necessarily ones you interviewed? Have people come up to you and told you how they felt or reacted to the book itself?
It's really interesting because usually those people come back and want to get another book to give to a family member because they just thought that was something. The most covered crime that people have come to me about is the Rolene Madison case in 1963, because there are still people, obviously, still alive that went to school with her, went to school with the Van Strattens. That was one of the boys that was convicted, and they just remember it like it was yesterday. And so yeah, but I've had people say, like I mentioned earlier about, I didn't even know that was in the newspaper, or I forgot about that story. Of course, and I always hear too, did you do this one? It's like, I never heard of that one, so I write down these little things that I think, well, do I want to do a book too? Probably not, but yeah, I mean, I would enjoy doing it, but I think I might find some other way, maybe do a pamphlet or a sort or whatever that people might want to be interested in. But yeah, the people have emailed me, text me back, see me in the grocery store. I went to the Joanne Fabrics today. A lady wanted to buy a book. It's been really fun to hear back about the stories that you remember at that time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, now, as I mentioned, this book is available here. How else, if anybody's interested in purchasing one, how can they do that?
Well, I used to think that I put in the book my email address. I did not. I'm in the phone book under Elsie Slinger. I guess is the best way is to call me. I can give my I can give you my email address if people want to email me that way too, or
That sounds
phone.
great.
Yeah.
And of course, again, you can purchase it here at the museum. We are currently closed to the public, but that will be short-lived. And although the gallery is currently closed, the museum store is still operable. It's a curious piece about this pause time is the store piece can still be open. So, and you know, who knows what happens? Hopefully we are past this COVID. And, in the meantime, you can absolutely give us a call here at the Historical. We're at 1814 Northwest 2nd Avenue. We're here as staff members. We're here Monday through Friday from 9 to 4. And so you can stop in during that time or give us a call at 507-332-2121. You can also find us on the web at www.rchistory.org. Elsie, thank you so much for all that you've done in helping us all preserve the past for future generations.
First United Bank and the Junior Board of Directors is proud to support Faribault Community Television.